And here we go, spawning in at the top right hand corner of data under the sea. We have no, I forgot the flags. We have the purple Zerg player hailing from the land of Costa Rica, representing Infernales Esports. He just took down Mantega 2-1. He is EON. Oh my. And spawning in the bottom left hand corner of data under the sea, we have the Brazilian Zerg player himself representing Team Super. It is TheZergLord. Again, TheZergLord, one of the champions, one of the favorites of this tournament. Going to be going up against EON. EON mixing things up a little bit. He did go for a gas trick here just to be a little bit more efficient, just to delay his overload a little bit further, as well as both players are going for hatch first openers. And again, this is what I expect to see. I do not expect EON to go for his aggressive plays against TheZergLord, just because there is a much greater or a much smaller skill gap between our players, and that's just so risky to try and pull off against TheZergLord. TheZergLord, another aggressive player from the region. Nowhere near as aggressive as EON, but aggressive nonetheless. So we're going to be seeing a much more standard opener, hatch gas pool coming out of both players here. And bearing in mind that EON, the last time we saw him on data under the sea, he did go for a standard hatch gas pool, he did go for a standard third base timing, but he delayed his Baneling Nest and he went for a very fast roach push, if you recall, making sure he was keeping his opponent busy, making sure he was distracting his opponent for such a long time, and allowed him to bank up some roaches and end the game. So he could be looking to do something similar. We'll keep an eye on things, especially when it comes to that Baneling Nest timing. But for the time being, we are just droning, we are just chilling. Meanwhile, shout out to Silva in the chat. CranKy Ducklings, good night. Go, TheZergLord. Yes, I know it is getting quite late in the land of specifically Europe. It's midnight in Europe, past midnight, 2 a.m. actually, in the land of Europe. So I know it's getting quite late. I know it's also getting late in the land of the Americas as well. So good night. Good evening, everyone. From those regions. Third base is being taken on time here for TheZergLord and EON, so again, everything is looking pretty normal and pretty standard. It all comes down to whether or not EON decides to skip that Baneling Nest again. As we are joining up behind this, TheZergLord throws down that Baneling Nest here at his natural location on time. EON, what we expect is mixing things up. Doesn't go for his own Baneling Nest, instead going for an Evo chamber here as a part of the wall. It isn't being hidden. It isn't an incredibly fast Evo chamber either. It's not like he wants to go into fast plus on melee or anything like that, into a link flood. No, I expect him once again to throw down that Roach Warren. And that's exactly what we see. He's walling off here on 2 bases. Now, this does mean that it's risky and he may not even be able to hold on to his third base. It's a very risky thing to do, to try and hold on without Link Bane. But he's skipping all of that. He wants to get right he wants to get right into roaches, and +1 carapace tells us that he wants to hit a roach ling timing. Oh boy. Meanwhile, across the map, TheZergLord is going for +1 range. So what +1 carapace does is that it means it's that much more difficult for Lings to get surrounds and get kills on these roaches. We do see a Ling scout coming on in for TheZergLord, confirming the gas count, making sure that there is no fast lair. But again, 3 gases in total have been taken much faster than that of TheZergLord. EON wants to make roaches ASAP. I say that, but he throws me a curveball as he does go for a lair, and he gets scouted. Every single time. They're the first wave of roaches on the way here for EON. Thankfully for EON as well, TheZergLord opted not to be aggressive with his Ling Bane. Instead, much more defensive. He has 2 Banelings back at home, just making sure he has his third base up and running. So EON has gotten away with skipping some tech. Oh, and he's investing in some defenses. I'm a little bit surprised. TheZergLord is doing such a great job at scouting, by the way, every single time and time again. This is the 3rd time that Lings have slipped into the main base just to make sure that the lair was not cancelled. There wasn't a 4th gas. If there was, we could be anticipating 2 base muta, or I guess 3 base muta technically, but TheZergLord has eyes on everything. He knows that that is not going to be possible. But yeah, Eon investing in these spine crawlers again. I'm a little bit surprised this will eat into his drone count a little bit. Eon has been working with more gas just because he took his gases that much faster, so he will have a greater pool of roaches to work with. But there we go. He takes every single gas. All 6 gases have been taken by Eon, and he's going into a spire. So not the fastest spire possible. I do appreciate that he has delayed this, but just like clockwork, the ZergLord goes in with an Overseer with Overlord speed, and he sees everything. He does get eyes on that spire. His scouting has not been denied. His scouting has been insane this entire game, and now Eon knows that he has to hit a timing with his roaches. Roach speed already on the way, +2 range on the way as well. Second Evo chamber being finished up for Carapace. And I worry for Eon. I worry if he's going to be able to survive long enough to get his roaches out. I understand that he wants to be a little bit greedy. He's working on lings. He doesn't want to make any roaches. He doesn't want to waste any gas on roaches because he wants to make as many mutas as possible. But this roach push, it's going to be coming in a couple of seconds. And I think that's why it's all the more important for Eon to be active right now. He is being a little bit aggressive. He's just distracting the ZergLord and forcing him to be active back at home. Just buying as much time as possible. There we go. 8 mutas are on the way. Eon can make even more from here once he has the lava for it. Not supply blocks or anything like that. 4th base is now on the way. The Overseer is going in for a follow-up scout just to confirm what's happening. Does confirm that the spire was not cancelled. Here comes the roach push, by the way, of the ZergLord, but the mutas are now out. Oh boy, it's going to be tough to save the 4th base, especially with only lings and mutas. But in the end, Eon is going to be able to clean all of this up, and it looks like he will hold on to his 4th. Oh, but maybe I spoke too soon. With a reinforcing wave of roaches, there is just too much DPS here. The 4th base is going to go down. We have 8 more mutas on the way. The ZergLord is responding with a hydrogen with spores, so back at home, he's going to be perfectly fine. It's all about how much more damage these roaches are going to do as the roaches get behind the mirror line, and they're going to get some drone kills. 2, 3, 4 drones are going to be going down. Only 4. This is not bad. These are acceptable losses, but Eon is behind when it comes to the worker count. He's behind in the bases. He immediately throws down another 4th base, and he has the map control. How many of these overlords can he get? How supply blocked is the ZergLord going to get? I love it. We have a little bit of a ling run by. The Queen is going to get focused down. Oh, there are far too many Hydras, though. Eon, he dives on top of them. There is no Spore to help support and help buffer for these Hydras, and 3, 4, 5 Hydras get picked off. Very nice moves here. It was a tough call to make, but he did end up diving. It did end up paying off for himself. He gets the Spore. Oh my god. And he gets every single Hydra. I did not have the confidence in these mutas to really be able to pull that off, but Eon, he has no fear. He focused down 2 more Hydras in total. How many of them have gone down? 14. 14 Hydras for 1 muta. As the 2nd muta gets picked up, but this 4th base is getting lower and lower. The micro is good enough, the stutter stepping is good enough, and the 4th base goes down. Very good control here by Eon. To be able to seize the opportunity. 3 mutas for 14 Hydras and 1 lair. Sorry, 1 hatchery. Well worth it, Papi. Well worth it. But now he has to transition. He knows this, I know this, I know this, you know this. The mutas have to do whatever they can to get even more value. Trying to pick off a gas geyser, almost get it in the end. He has to be careful not to overextend. We'll lose a couple of mutas. Oh my god. Again, I don't know if this is really worth it, but he is transitioning into mass roach. +2 range is on the way. Roaches are on the way. Eon being a little bit careless here with his mutas, but he has to be, as the ZergLord is going to be forced to push out. Again, back at home, we have nothing but roaches being banked up. Eon needs a little bit more time. He gets 1 gas geyser. He's going to get a 2nd gas geyser as well. And after this, the mutas, they can come back home. The ZergLord being very committed here with his push, with his Roach Hydra. But honestly, I think he has too many Hydras. This is not the ideal army against what Eon has. Eon going to go for a bit of a surround. Going to get on top of these Hydras. The mutas do not turn around either, by the way. They are catching the reinforcements. Oh, and with the full surround, the ZergLord is going to lose everything here. Hydras, again, they're not what you want against roaches, only against mutas. The mutas, they come back home. And again, the Hydras are no more. GG gets called. Eon takes the first game. Wow. GG, well played. I was honestly not expecting those Hydras to find so much damage. Actually insane. Oh my god, it was crazy. Muted just sorry, Eon just messaged me. He said mutants are a dumb unit. GG, well played by Eon to be able to to be able to take down, or to be able to find an opportunity, find a moment where he could dive in and trade incredibly efficiently against all these Hydras, and that just allowed the follow-up push to be that much weaker from the ZergLord. So very well done in the end by Eon. Can he keep it up though? Can he keep it up in this series? And here we go. You can hear the beeps. So loading into game number 2. And here we're going to be dancing in the moonlight on Moondance. And spawning in the bottom right hand corner of Moondance, we have the Costa Rican Zerg player himself. He is purple, representing Infernales Esports, rocking that beautiful flag. It is EON. And spawning in the top left hand corner of Moondance, we have the Brazilian Zerg player himself, representing Team Super. It is the ZergLord. Oh. Again, a very intense game number 1. Eon cutting a lot of corners, going into his fast Roach Warren, skipping Baneling Nest, getting scouted time and time again. But the ZergLord, despite all of that scouting, he wasn't able to hit his timing with his roaches. I do think that it was very important for Eon, one, to delay his Spire. If you remember, he didn't get his Spire until he was getting his 6th gas at his 3rd base, so he delayed it a lot just to make sure it didn't get scouted. And even after he got scouted, he went across the map with Lings and a handful of roaches just to buy time, just to distract the ZergLord and just to keep him at home. It all just came into play, and it all just culminated into the fact that Eon was able to defend against that roach push. Sure, he lost his 4th base, but he was able to kill the 4th of the ZergLord as well and do so much more. Oh my god. And we'll see where things take us here, as we do have some relatively standard openers. I say relatively standard because the ZergLord did go for, oh my god, a much more aggressive opener. I didn't have eyes on it, but I'm gonna just throw it out there and say it was a gas pool opener, light style. Oh my god, it looks like it was just a pool first opener here. So a safer opener. He's moving out across the map with his handful of Lings. He doesn't have an advantage in the gas, so again, it wasn't a gas first or anything like that. The Lings are on the way, but Eon went for a hatch gas pool. He should be perfectly fine. He throws out in a safety spine. I do think this is an overreaction. It is only 6 Lings, but Eon is a little bit afraid that it is going to be more than that. So Eon taking this very seriously, arguably too seriously to be honest, but we'll see how he does. Queen is on the way, the Lings are here as well. The Lings of the ZergLord, they can only chip away at whatever is here at the natural. As one Ling slips on in, and we should hopefully see a cancel on this spine. Ooh, no cancel. So Eon does have that spine crawler thrown down. And I'm sure the ZergLord is happy with this. The ZergLord has forced a massive reaction when it comes to Lings. Looking at the units tab, yeah, Eon, he made 8 Lings instead of your usual 6. So again, he forced some extra Lings out. He forced the drone to be morphed into a spine as well. So the ZergLord doing a decent amount of damage with this. It all adds up, and we can see that now the ZergLord does have an advantage in the drone count, or we have now evened things up, but we have 2 more drones on the way, so the ZergLord has a little bit of an economic lead. We have a 3rd base on the way as well. Eon has to do something a little bit different, and he is going to be walling off. Once again, skipping that Baneling Nest. This time though, because it's Moondance, the ZergLord is doing the same. Why do you need a Baneling Nest? Your third base is perfectly safe. We can wall off. We do not need Ling Bane to defend our third. Ooh, but the ZergLord has another wave of Lings. This is curious. We're on Moondance, a map that you can defend relatively easily on two bases, as we can see. It doesn't take that much to fully wall off. The Lings are here though. They want to kill the Queen. It looks like they will get the Queen, and they will scout the Lings. Back at home, EON, I mean, oh my god, he has to be careful. The Queens are a little bit out of position. They're rushing all the way back home to be a part of this wall. We do have a couple of Lings on the way behind this, and okay, EON, as long as the whole position is on point, we do not need Lings to defend. We do not need roaches. We are safe and sound. The ZergLord even losing an Overlord in the process. Both players are going for +1 carapace. Both players looking to make use of Ling Roach. And I'm just looking at the drone count. Again, EON is behind when it comes to those workers. He's going to have to be playing catch up a little bit. I mean, he did force out a bunch of Lings from the ZergLord. Lings that honestly didn't really do too much. So there is that advantage. He does have a second Evo chamber. He's going to be looking to hit a 1-1 upgrade timing. Third base finally being taken again a little bit later. But if EON can hit his timing anyway, he can still make this work. As Roach production has commenced for the ZergLord, EON still catching up, still droning. Gonna be working off of 3 gases. And I feel like from this point, I think we're gonna be okay when it comes to the drone count. 3 gases are fully saturated. We are saturating our third base a little bit as well. But from here, roaches have to be made. And again, those upgrades are getting close to being completed. Meanwhile, across the map, Lair being taken for the ZergLord again much later, so EON is going to have a Roach speed advantage compared to his opponent. Roaches are being banked up. Once that Lair is done, I wouldn't be surprised if the ZergLord does morph in an Overseer and he goes in for a Scout, and that's going to be a crucial moment. That's going to be the moment where the ZergLord finally gets eyes on how many Roaches EON has. I'm not even fully convinced if EON is going to hit with +1, by the way. 1-1 even. He's making another wave of drones, which is throwing me off a little bit. Now, EON does have that Roach advantage. Ooh, gets supply blocked though. Ay. Overlord is on the way. To be fair, +1 is still on the way as well, so EON, I'm sure, doesn't want to hit a timing without it. But we need more Roaches now. And he goes for a Hydra Den? Okay. Interesting. Here we go. EON is pushing out across the map. With this push, he can deny, maybe get a kill on the 4th base of the ZergLord. He's going to force a massive reaction out of him as well. The ZergLord doesn't have the Roach numbers right now to really contend with EON. He doesn't have the numbers. He doesn't have the upgrades. EON, though, actually doesn't have eyes on the 4th base, so I'm a little bit concerned about this. To be fair, though, the Evo Chambers and the Roach Warren are exposed here for the ZergLord, so EON could try and get a bit of a snipe on them. A lot of DPS already being dished out to that Roach Warren. Right now, EON just trading with the army. Losing a lot in the process, and it looks like the ZergLord will hold on to his base. Will hold on to his set. Now we have a couple of reinforcing Roaches coming in, but the ZergLord will be able to force all of this back. And he holds on to his 4th. Again, EON just doesn't have eyes on it. He didn't know. Ooh, as EON gets supply blocked once again after losing that Overlord. He does have a Hydra Den behind this just in case it's going to be mutas. I imagine that's all it was, just a safety precaution. He doesn't really intend to tech in that direction. +2 range is going to be on the way as well, but unfortunately he wasn't able to make use of that 1-1 timing. The ZergLord now ahead. You know, he's got his army, he's caught up in the upgrades, he has a 4th base, he has a drone lead. The pressure is on EON. Sure, he's behind. That doesn't mean he's out of the game, though. He can still outposition his opponent. There is a world where he goes for a run by, where he kills all these drones, where he maybe snipes not just a hatchery, but maybe even the Roach Warren, as it is pretty low. It's gonna be tough, though. Ooh, as he throws down a Spire. This feels kind of like a desperation Spire, not gonna lie, especially because we already invested in the Hydra Den. Like, the Spire can be useful. Mutas can work wonders in Roach versus Roach, and it is a way to catch up. Yeah, just a little bit late as a response. Meanwhile, we do see the ZergLord chilling back at home, just droning on up, getting up to 61. I imagine maybe 66 drones and just making nothing but roaches from there. EON, he's giving EON a lot of time. I'll give him that. I'll say that about EON. You know, this Spire so far is getting underweight. He's buying a lot of time. He's banking up minerals. He's banking up gas. He's going for a little bit of a Roach counterattack within vision of the Overlords, by the way, and this will, again, keep the ZergLord busy at home. All that EON cares about is that the ZergLord is staying across the map, that he's not coming his way. And because of that, the Spire has now finished and the first wave of mutas are on the way. The ZergLord doesn't have anti-air. He doesn't have a Hydrogen. He has a couple of Queens, but again, mutas will mean that EON will be able to clean up this army. It's going to take a while. The Overseer slips in. The Overseer hasn't checked the main. He hasn't seen the Spire. Ooh. Fourth base is going to be forced to be cancelled here. EON's still stuck on 3 bases, but does it matter? We'll find out. It's going to be close. The army's pushing on forward here. The Evo Chamber wall is going to go down. Mutas reveal themselves, and now the pressure is on. The ZergLord has to do damage. A couple of vials are being thrown down as well, forcing EON to micro backwards with his roaches. Mutas are diving on top of whatever they can. They're going to be focusing down the Ravagers, but it's a little bit too late. 14 drones have already fallen. There are just so many roaches. And behind this, we have an infestation pit. Oh my god, infestors are on the way. Hydrogen is done. 4 Hydras to come out as well. And the mutas were nice, but they just were not fast enough. EON losing so many drones in the process, and he has to deal counter damage, and I just don't know if he can. He's essentially being forced all in right now. He's going across the map. What does he have to do? He has to kill 20 drones and a base, and even then, the ZergLord is making nothing but Hydras right now. Like, he has the anti-air. I think EON knows that, like, dealing damage in the mineral lines is going to be a bit of a tough ask, so he goes for Overlords. But the ZergLord has Overlords to spare. And he research borrowed. Tunneling Claw roaches are coming across the map. EON doesn't have detection. Roach Warren is going to be focused down. One of us. Oh, he does get the Roach Warren. Finally. At the price of a muta. Meanwhile, roaches do unburrow here at the 3rd base of EON, losing drones that he cannot afford to lose. And here comes the counterattack. The ZergLord, this time not pushing out with just Hydras, he's pushing out with roaches, and he's pushing out with infestors for fungals. A very strong timing here. Meanwhile, EON is still struggling to deal with all these harassing roaches. In comes the push. And mutas were able to save EON earlier, but now they're... God, I just don't see them working, as the fungal does connect with the roaches with a handful of mutas. There's enough anti-air. The ZergLord pushes on in. And the ZergLord is looking to tie up this series. He had a hard time in game number 1. He was completely pulled apart, but here in game number 2, he's able to fight back and ties it up 1-1. GG. We are going to the ace match. GG, well played. EON just a little bit too far behind going for those mutas. He was down in the bases, down in the drones. I think he could have done a little bit more with his roaches, with his 1-1 timing, but we saw that EON was getting supply blocked as he was trying to work up towards that, so it was a little bit inefficient. He didn't hit with as many roaches as I'm sure he would have liked, and I'm sure things would have been a little bit different if he knew about the 4th base, because he didn't have eyes on it. He didn't know that he had to punish it, and he totally could have. He had the army advantage. He had the roach lead and the upgrade lead. He wanted to fight the ZergLord out in open ground, and he would have forced the ZergLord out if he did hit that 4th. Either forced him out or forced to cancel. GG, well played. And with that, we're getting into game number 3. To find out which one of our two players moves on to the semi-finals, exclamation mark be in the chat if you guys want to have a look at the bracket yourselves. It looks like all of our players are now in the quarterfinals. The round of 16 has finished up. No major ups. Ooh, there is one upset actually. We can get into that a little bit later. Because spawning in the bottom left hand corner of Inside and Out, we have the purple, oh my god, the purple Zerg player from the land of Costa Rica. Both players are doing it. We have a 12 pool on a 12 pool ZvZ. Let's go. Representing Infernales Esports, it is EON. And spawning in the top right hand corner of Inside now, we have the Brazilian Zerg player himself, one of the other aggressive players in the region, representing Team Super. It is TheZergLord. Oh my god, let's go. Both players going for their own variants of 12 pools. How exactly are they going to do this though? Because again, if you 12 pool, you can expand behind this, you can get a hatchery, you can also send drones across the map, you can pool the boys if you wanted to as well. EON, the most aggressive Zerg player in the entire Latin American region. The ZergLord, the second most aggressive player as well. Both of them are up there in terms of aggression. 6 leagues are going to be on the way. Drones are not being pulled. It looks like both players are looking to expand. Oof. Hatchery already on the way for the ZergLord. EON going for, oh my god, he's not expanding, he's pulling the boys. The drones are coming across the map, a much more committed variant of the 12 pool. The ZergLord does see this, by the way, as the Overlord in the middle of the map does confirm, and the ZergLord has to make a choice. Does he want to find the middle of the map or not? The Lings are already here and they already got on top of some of these drones. EON very, oh my god, EON very quick to respond. We almost have a full surround there on those Lings. The ZergLord, oh my god, getting a little bit himself caught out here. A couple of Lings go down, but EON, he cannot waste time on the low ground. He has to go all the way to the main. He has to get these spines up and running. Meanwhile, the ZergLord is working on his own spine crawler, already almost done. How many spines are we going to get for EON? We need some of them. Papi? EON? Oh god. The first spine crawler finishes up. Spines just now start for EON, but it's a little bit late. There we go, there's the second spine. We can be seeing a third soon. But now there are just too many Lings. The ZergLord has bought more than enough time. He's got the queen, he's got the Lings, he's got the spine. GG gets called. And the ZergLord takes the series 2-1. Oof. A bit of a build order win there from the ZergLord. GG, well played. Again, a little bit of build order win. Both players went for 12 pools. One of them more economic, the other more all in. And it was just unlucky. Yeah, EON is just messaging me now as well. Just what can he do? You know, both players flipped some coins, they both rolled some dice, and sometimes you're just unlucky. It's the reality of things. Feels bad, man. Feels bad. Like EON's like, I picked my build and I that was it. I couldn't do anything else. Oh god. GG, well played. I mean, I hope EON isn't feeling too bad about himself. Like, he did really well getting into the quarterfinals and going all the way to the ace match against the ZergLord. It's not an easy thing to do. So he played well. He played well.